This video is regarding incarnation, reincarnations, and it is a subject that we don't really talk a lot about because for some of us it's a little taboo. But and the raw material, Ra talked a lot about incarnation. When the purpose of reincarnation is basically to spiritually evolve further. The universe used incarnation, reincarnations, whatever, for the purpose of giving mankind an opportunity to evolve spiritually. Because after all, we are immortal beings. We don't die. We simply leave this vessel. If we are not ready to leave this dimension, if we're not ready to move on to graduate to a next dimension, according to Ra, we leave this. When we are ready to exit, we basically leave the vessel behind, and we take our spirit with us, right? And when we are ready to come back, we come back. If we have to come back to a third dimensional planet. Now, but when we come back to learn lessons that we did not learn when we left, where we left off. That's the reason why we come back to whatever density that we return to when we reincarnate. So we are all immortal entities. None of us are mortals, actually. And so when we come back, it's the lessons that we have to learn that we come back to learn. And a lot of time, we do not want to learn those. We tend to neglect those lessons because sometimes they are painful. And so we tend to not want to deal with these lessons. But if we look carefully in our lives and we find out that there are certain things, there are certain difficult situations that are happening over and over and over and over again, chances are it's because those are the lessons that we came in this incarnation to learn. We came in this incarnation to learn these lessons so that we could move upward in our spiritual evolution. And so therefore, to run away from these problems, from these circumstances, and they keep reoccurring no matter what, is not really supporting us or assisting us in our spiritual evolutionary path. So it is very important that as we go through our lives and this existence, we do our very best to confront, to handle, to manage, to maneuver our way through our difficulties, our experiences. That's the reason a lot of times we find ourselves going back over and over again to the same experiences. And we keep saying to ourselves, okay, why do I keep making the same mistakes? Or why do I keep doing the exact same thing again and over again? And then, but that's because there is a lesson in there we came to learn from. And that's the purpose of reincarnation, is to deal with lessons, relationships, experiences. All, there's a purpose. So we reincarnate out of our own free will to learn. Since we're not going to die, we are immortal. So we have to learn. If we don't learn, we just keep coming back to the same dimension, whether it's Earth or another 3D planet. There are other 3D planets, whether it's this planet or another planet, but we keep reincarnating. We keep reincarnating to this dimensional planet until we learn the lessons that we needed to learn on a 3-dimensional level, which is what Earth is, a 3-dimensional level, as it will eventually switch to a fourth dimensional level, which is another dimension, which is a dimension of love. 2-dimensional is very harsh. It's a very harsh dimension to be part of, but it's also a great lesson environment because there are lots of lessons to learn. There are lots of catalysts, lots of opportunities to evolve spiritually. Jesus, whatever you want to call him, Jesus or Yeshua, I don't know what, but bottom line is that's why Jesus came to Earth. Jesus came to Earth to not only help mankind, humanity, but also to evolve higher spiritually. Jesus, he never said he was a God, even though we call him God, but he has never said he was a God. He was an entity of a higher realm, a celestial realm that came in so that to learn a lesson, to take advantage of the catalysts that are here on Earth as lessons and approach them with love, with a certain type of a personality, celestial personality, which allow him the opportunity to move upward in terms of his celestial spiritual evolution. I hope that makes sense. So this is why we incarnate. We incarnate because we have to learn lessons, and if we don't take out those lessons very seriously, we keep making the same mistake again, and we keep coming back here over and over again to learn those lessons until we're ready to move upward. And the three-dimensional level, there are different levels of three-dimensional. So you have people that have just started their three-dimensional experiences and existence, and you also have entities that have in the middle area of their third dimensional existence, and you also have those that are advanced, that are ready to graduate. Where I would say graduate meanings that they would be moving up to, they would qualify to move upward to the fourth dimensional level, which is a dimension of love. Earth is a dimension of lots and lots of lessons. It's basically going to school so that you can graduate into a higher dimension. Earth is basically a school. It's not what we think it is. It has nothing to do with death and this is it. No. But however, the negative forces, which they are powerful, but not as powerful as positive forces, but the negative forces are powerful, and they also exist in higher dimension. They will confuse us into thinking that we do die, that we do perish, and then we go to wherever, I don't know where that is, and then we come, this is it, and establishing fear and making us chasing anything but spirituality in order to survive. We becoming obsessed with our bodies and our, in longevity, but not focusing on what really matters, which is our spiritual evolution. The purpose of existence is all about spirituality. If we don't evolve spiritually, we really did nothing. We might as well not have been anywhere for that matter, because the whole purpose of existing is to learn our spiritual lesson so that we could evolve spiritually. And most of higher dimensional planets, all they learn about is spirituality, spiritual technology, and they don't use their technology to hurt others. They simply use it for their personal needs, their evolvement, their evolution. And but this is basically understanding the purpose of incarnation and reincarnation. So if you think of Jesus is in a sense that's the true story. In a sense that Jesus came to earth and he lived on earth like a earth man, and then he did have a mission to speak, to relay messages from the infinite creator, as a result, but he came in to graduate, and he did. He graduated because Jesus demonstrated all the virtues of pure divinity, in a sense that when he cured people, he never said, I did it. He told them, you cured yourself to your faith. Or when he did a miracle, he never took credit for the miracle. He would tell people, do not tell please tell no one. And when he was basically crucified, when he was killed in a very harsh, inhumane manner, he did not say, I'm gonna get them. He simply said, please forgive them, for they do not know what they do. He instantly released himself of any karma he might have incurred during his visit, his stay, his mission on earth. So anyway, this is not about Jesus. This is about incarnation and reincarnation. But the purpose of the Jesus story was that he died and he came back. That's the true fact. That's the true fact that pertains to all of us, animals, humans, and hybrids, whatever you want to call us. We are all the same. We all came from the same derivative, but we simply have been programmed to separate ourselves from each other by thinking, you're one skin color, I'm a different skin color. That really doesn't matter, but this was programmed for a purpose. The purpose is to prevent us from evolving spiritually. No matter how conscious we call ourselves, we label ourselves as conscious entities, but if we see each other based on the color of our skin, and it's very easy to fall into that trap because it's programmed for us that way, to be racist against each other, to not like one another, to be racistic. So if we have to learn we want to learn to treat each other equally, as though we are the same. Because at the end, when you go deep into understanding the law of one, we are the same. We are the very same. It's just that we are expressing different desires based on our unique desires. That we may have a desire that is different from another, but that does not mean we are different. We are still the same, manifesting different desires, because God, the universal creator, the infinite creator, will by default manifest whatever desire each and every one of us desires. That's just a plain fact. I know it's hard to imagine, but it is a fact. Whatever we desire, we eventually manifest that, because the God, the Creator, sees to it that all its part fulfill their desires. That's what the Creator does. And this is all based on the teaching of Ra and the law of one. So this is, I wanted to relay this in terms of reincarnation. And I may have to do a second part because I don't want this video to be too long. Until then, I will say goodbye, and I leave you in the love and the light of peace and in the infinite Creator. I'm just doing these videos to, I don't know, to share messages that I've learned through the law of one, through my studies in metaphysics as a metaphysician. Until then, if you have any, if you like, please subscribe and like, because these videos are not very popular, and there are forces out there that do not want this information out there. They do not want you to know about reincarnations, incarnations, that you don't die, that you're immortals. They don't want you to have that information. That's why lots of energy and lots of money, lots of stuff is being done to make sure that we are not aware that the fact that we are immortal entities, each and every one of us, and we don't die. We never die. We simply leave the vessel for whatever reason. Perhaps we desire to leave the vessel, or perhaps another force try to make us, I don't know, but we leave the vessel when we're ready to leave this existence. And if we are not ready to graduate to a higher dimension, we come back to a three-dimensional. And if Earth is no longer a three-dimensional, and if we had to return to a three-dimensional, unfortunately, we would return to another planet that is a three-dimensional planet. But there are other three-dimensional planets, though Earth is not the only one. But until then, I hope it makes sense what I said. Until then, I love you. I leave you in love and light of the infinite Creator. And that's it for today. Until then, I love you. Don't forget, let us try to forgive one another. Thank you.